David here from Creative by Design. I posted a video on YouTube a little while back, and some people pointed some things out to me, so I thought I'd just go ahead and reshoot it. The first thing that was pointed out to me was that I wasn't doing it in a real world environment. I made a demonstration box, and that wasn't exactly real world. I mean, it was close to it as I could simulate. But nonetheless, we're going to go ahead and redo the whole thing, one continuous shot, to show you that this is a valid tool. It really does work. I know there's a lot of stuff out there on YouTube that derides certain other devices that have been used to pull pavers, but this is the real deal. I invented this because I had a problem on my pool deck that I needed to solve, and I've taken care of all my problem pavers, so I'm going to yank out a perfectly good paver here. I left the weeds in place to show you that this paver hasn't been disturbed for at least as long as the weeds have been growing here, and probably a lot longer than that. But first thing we do is we put on our heavy gloves and eye protection, because Paver Claw is made from solid stainless spring steel, and because it's spring steel, it's very hard. You never want to hit it with a hardened steel hammer or other hardened metal tool. You always want to use a plastic, rubber, or wood mallet. The next thing about pavers is most pavers have these spacing splines on them, and to find them you need to trace around the edge of the paver with the corner of the Paver Claw. Don't worry about any dirt or vegetation. Paver Claw will easily cut through that. Unless you have polymeric sand in between the joints of your pavers. Polymeric is a new type of joint sand that is swept in place and then soaked, and it gets hard. It's like plaster. So if you can't trace around the paver, if you've got this hard material between your pavers, it's probably polymeric sand, and you either need to just soak it really good with water and make it soft again, or pressure wash it out completely. Either way will work. The other thing we need to know about Paver Claws is that they will not work if your pavers are set on concrete. Sorry, the way Paver Claw works is it gets underneath the paver, and the claw springs out and locks under it. So it's like being able to push the paver out from the bottom, because the lifting force is applied to the bottom side of the paver, not the top or the sides. So once we've located where the splines are, we can tap in a Paver Claw. I like to get them started a little bit first, get the claws down underneath the top of the paver into the gap. That gives it a little more stability when you go to tap on it. A lot of times if you have loose joints, you can just wiggle the Paver Claw in by hand completely until it goes all the way in and locks. And in this case, I'm getting lucky here. This one, yeah, we were able to get that one all the way down. The next one I'm going to tap in to show you how to do that. It's not difficult. Just you want to support the Paver Claw, keep it from bending as you tap it in place. If you have a hard time getting the claw to go down between the joints, it's because the joints are very tight. You've either got some extra compression going on, or you've got really hardened old sand in there. Soak it with water and and then wiggle the Paver Claw and work it in. I think you'll find it'll come up pretty easily. Next thing we do is we insert our handle. Oh, let me tell you about this. We're kind of offset here because there's a spline in the center here and a spline here. So we don't want the Paver Claws both on the same side, because part of the action of getting a paver out is you've got to rock it like a cradle, and that overcomes the binding that you would normally have happen when you try to lift something out. You can't get it perfectly straight out. It's always going to tilt a little bit, and that will cause it to bind up. So the rod in this case has to go across at a diagonal angle. That's not a problem, except this is a prototype rod. It's really not quite long enough to do the trick. I had to cut some splines into it to make it work. And the other thing you might also need to do is tap on the paver a little bit with a mallet to try to free it up a little bit, or perhaps the pavers around it. And just apply a gentle upward force. See, it lifts right out of there. It's up to the point now where I can get it by hand. Yep, no problem. Okay, we're selling these for $19.95. Right now, they're not available immediately. They're in production. We should have them out the last week of March 2018, maybe the first week of April at the latest. Check the website, Creative by Design. Google them. Paver Claws should come up prominently under Google. And I look forward to seeing you on the web. Thanks for your attention.